Welcome back to my channel and to the new video, and I'm back again with a new video about Sweden. And as you must have seen from the title below, today's video is gonna be about finding affordable housing here in Sweden. But before starting the video, as I always say, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that I get little motivation to make such videos and bring you content like this. So first you have to understand the housing system, how it works here in Sweden. So housing system here works on a queuing basis. So it's basically you have to register on a website and start your queuing days. The website I'll be talking about later in the video. So basically if you are registered for 50 days, you will have 50 queuing days, and that queuing days you can use to find a good and a cheap accommodation here in Sweden. So let's divide the category of people who move here in Sweden. So basically there are two categories. One is the student category who move here in Sweden for their studies, and the second one is the people who move here for their job. So as I'm a student myself, so I'll be talking about the student category first. The weather here is so unpredictable. It was cloudy like 10 seconds back and it is sunny, as you can see the sun in my face. But let's start without wasting any time. Let's start with the video. And talking about student category, we can divide them into three different categories. One is the people who are international students who move from countries like India, Pakistan, United States or Australia. That is, they are not a part of EU or Sweden. And second category of students who are a part of EU, Switzerland and Sweden. And the third category is the Swedish people who are living here. So we are not gonna talk about the Swedish people because they are living here more than me, so they know about how to find the best affordable housing system. Let's start with the first category of students, that is the international students. So if you are an international student and moving here in Sweden, so your university which you are coming here will definitely help you for a certain period of time to give you an accommodation at an affordable price. For example, I moved here at KTH for my master's study, so I was guaranteed accommodation for 1 year, although I stayed there for like 3 months because it was a bit expensive. So you get a furnished apartment. My apartment was 18 meters square with my private washroom and a room. The kitchen was shared among other people, and the rent was 4,600 Swedish crowns. I stayed there for 3 months. Then I moved to another apartment, and I'll tell you about how you can find another apartment which is cheaper, unfurnished, so you can buy your own furniture, but I think that is a one-time investment. So there is an organization everywhere in every city. For if we take example of Stockholm, there is an organization known as Triple SB, whose link I'll put in the title and in the description also. So to get an accommodation, you have to sign up on their website and you can start your queuing days. The more number of queuing days you have, the better apartment and cheaper apartment you can find on their website. And you can see all the apartments on their website, and with your queuing days you can actually show interest on any of the apartments. For example, if you like an apartment, you can show interest, and if they will see if you have more number of queuing days than the others. If you have the highest number of queuing days, they will contact you and you will get the apartment. So the apartment right now which I am staying, I pay 4,000 Swedish crowns per month. It is a similar room, 18 meters square, for unfurnished. I bought my own furniture, and the kitchen is shared among 12 other people. Another example I can give you, as you might have seen my previous videos and you must know, I am in Skellefteå right now doing my internship, and I am a student right now itself. So there is an organization here in Skellefteå also known as Skibo. So it's Skellefteå Bostad. So I found an accommodation here in Skellefteå Bostad through their website as a student, and it is really cheap. Although the room is a little small, but the rent is around 2,000 Swedish crowns. And so it's really helpful if you're moving as a student, and I can understand that people moving as a student are on a tight budget. One more thing about these organizations is that you don't have to pay rent for the summers, that is June and July. So for my accommodation there in Stockholm, I don't have to pay any rent in June and July, so that's a really great thing. So these organizations are really helpful. These kind of organizations are there in every city, and I'm sure there must be in Gothenburg, Malmö and other cities like that. So you can have a look at their website. I'm sure you can find that on Google. So let's move to second type of people, second type of students who are moving here in Sweden, that is EU, the people moving from EU or Switzerland. So usually the students moving here from EU or Switzerland, the university don't provide them accommodation for the initial few days, so they have to figure out themselves. And later at the stage, you can obviously register at triple SB or organizations like that and start your queuing days. And when you have enough queuing days, obviously you can get a better apartment, but for the initial few days you don't have enough queues to get the apartment. So there are ways where you can find accommodation. First is the Facebook groups. If you join the Facebook groups, there are people who are subletting their apartment. For example, I moved here in Skellefteå, so I could have sublet my apartment there in Stockholm. So you can find people like that who are moving to another city, another country for maybe 6 months, 1 year for their studies or for job or whatever, and they will sublet their apartment for that particular period. So you can find it, but be aware there are a lot of scams going on in Facebook. So if you see any red flags like you're getting a lavish apartment for a really cheap price, be aware it might be a scam. So don't give any money before seeing the apartment and before moving here in Sweden. One way of finding for EU and Switzerland student is through the Facebook group. Second is blockit.se. So there are people who are subletting their apartment officially, so they post their apartments on blockit.se, whose link I'll put in the title and also in the description. You can have a look, and from there you can find the accommodation also for the first few months, by the time you don't have your enough queuing days. And after you have your enough queuing days, obviously you can register and find accommodation through student organizations. So this was for the students who are moving here in Sweden. We have talked about international students moving here from EU or Switzerland, and as you can see from my face again, it is cloudy again in 10 seconds. So the weather here is really unpredictable. But before moving forward with another type of people, like people who are moving here directly for their jobs, I would say again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so I get little motivation, and please show your support. If you feel you are getting some information from this video, please subscribe and share my video. Now talking about the people who are moving here directly for their job, it is almost a similar concept. You have to be in the queuing system, but I'm sure if you are in India or somewhere else moving here in Stockholm, it's very difficult to start your queuing days and have enough queuing days to get an apartment. So for you guys, you have to understand first the first hand contract and the second hand contract. So first hand contract is like you are in the queuing days and you have collected enough queuing days, so you will get an apartment. It is basically government control, so no one will loot you, be assured of that. So if you have enough queuing days, you can show interest on the website. The website is different, that is bostad.stockholm.se, whose link I'll put in the description, and also it will be flashing somewhere in the title. So you have to start your queuing days. You should make your account there, but to make an account there, you must have a bank ID, which you cannot have if you are there in India. So you have to move here in Sweden, and only you can start your queuing days. So if you are moving here, you can either find accommodation through Facebook groups, but as I said earlier, be aware there are a lot of scams going on the Facebook groups. And the other is blockit.se, where you can find second hand contract. So second hand contract is basically, if I'm living here in Sweden and I have got enough queuing days and I've got an apartment, so, and if I don't want to live there for maybe 1 or 2 years, I can put my apartment on rent on blockit.se. It's basically subletting my apartment, so you can find a second hand contract apartment on blockit.se. It is usually you get a furnished apartment, and also it's a bit expensive if you stay here and get a first hand apartment. And if you pay, for example, 10,000 Swedish crowns a month, the people who are subletting it or giving a second hand contract would charge you probably around 13 or 14,000 Swedish crowns because of the furniture that they have provided. The first hand contract, you don't get any furniture. But since again I'm saying it is government control, so they cannot charge you more than a certain amount of the rent that they are paying too. So for example, if they are paying 10,000, they cannot charge you 20 or 30,000 Swedish crowns, because it would be another income and they have to pay tax on that, and the government doesn't allow here. The government is really fair and they want everyone to be treated fairly, so be assured you won't get any problem in that. So to summarize, for the people who are moving here directly for their job, if you are not here yet, try to find accommodation through the Facebook groups, blockit.se, but as I'm saying again, be aware of the scams that are going on. If someone is offering you a lavish apartment for a really cheap price, it's one red flag, and be aware that you might get looted. So don't pay any money before moving here, and when you have moved here, get your bank account and bank ID as soon as possible and start the queuing days as soon as possible. I have also started my queuing days because I cannot be a student forever, and in the future I would obviously need an apartment to stay, so I have started my queuing days. And that was it for today's video. I hope you got some information from the video, and if you do, please share the video to more number of people who you think will get some information. And before going, as usual, I will show you around the place which I come to every day, which is very close to the nature, where I like to sit and have my peaceful time and also make videos. So this is the place where I usually come and enjoy every day after work, and come here, maybe grab a beer and chill around this place. And it is very close to nature. You must have seen this place in my last video as well. And before going again, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel and share the video to more number of people, so I get little motivation. And until then, take care, bye bye, and I'll see you in the next video really soon. And thank you so much for watching.